A fresh wave of Israeli strikes overnight has left more than 50 people dead across the Gaza Strip, according to hospital officials. The military action came a day after senior government officials said Israel would seize large areas of Gaza and establish a new security corridor across the Strip. Israel has vowed to escalate the nearly 18-month war with Hamas until the militant group returns dozens of remaining hostages, disarms, and leaves the territory. Casualties were rushed to hospital after an Israeli strike on tents housing the displaced in Khan Yunis. A Palestinian from Rafah saying, "Is anything left for us? There's nothing left for us. We're being killed while asleep." Hundreds of thousands of fleeing Gazans sought shelter in one of the biggest mass displacements of the war, as Israeli forces advanced into the ruins of the city of Rafah. A day after declaring their intention to capture large swaths of the crowded enclave, Israeli forces pushed into the city on Gaza's southern edge, which had served as a last refuge for people fleeing other areas for much of the war. Many gathered at a soup kitchen today. Children were among the waiting crowd, scrambling for bread and bowls of lentil soup. Israel ended a ceasefire in March and has imposed a month-long halt on all imports of food, fuel, and humanitarian aid that has left civilians facing acute shortages as supplies dwindle. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived in Budapest for a 4-day visit, defying an international criminal court arrest warrant over allegations of war crimes in Gaza.
Nekünk fontos, én voltam az a miniszterelnök, aki aláírtam a...
In an announcement timed with Netanyahu's visit, Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban said his country would withdraw completely from the ICC, an organization set up more than 2 decades ago to prosecute those accused of war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide.
You stand with us at the EU, you stand with us at the UN, and you've just taken a bold and principled position on the ICC, and I thank you, Victor. This is not only important for us, it's important for all democracies. It's important to stand up to this corrupt organization.
Israel has rejected the accusations, which it says are politically motivated and fueled by anti-Semitism. Yesterday, Netanyahu vowed to increase pressure on the Strip until all remaining hostages are released.
Last night in the Gaza Strip, we switched gears. The IDF is seizing territory, striking the terrorists, and destroying the infrastructure. Because we are now dividing the Strip and increasing the pressure step by step so that they will give us our hostages. And as long as they do not give them to us, the pressure will increase until they do.
But relatives of hostages still held by Hamas condemn the expansion.
I think that military force can only go so far, and at some point we have to use diplomacy. And I think that we must use diplomacy with the Qataris that have influence over Hamas, with the Egyptians that have influence over Hamas, and also within Israel. We have to know our boundaries. How far can we get with military force, and when do we need to say enough is enough, and we now are signing a deal to get all the hostages back.